To begin with, we need to make sure we have Firebase tools installed. I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed and configured, but it's very simple. You just need to install Firebase tools globally like this. Then you just run Firebase login to log into your projects. Once you do that, after providing your credentials and logging in, you can just run Firebase list. And this command should list all the projects you have access to. So there are 3 projects that I have access to. Now I want to use one of them. To do that, I need to run Firebase use and provide the project ID, which will be Tickwick. And that's it. Now using project Tickwick staging. But imagine we have a very long project ID. Then we would probably want to create some kind of alias for that project. And we can do it like this: Firebase use -- add. This should list all the projects again. Now we can select one of them, which will be Tickwick staging, and we just provide the alias, which will be staging. Now that we've done that, we automatically switched to those projects, but let's say we changed it to some other project. I want to get back to this. Let's do Firebase use, alias, and good to go. So now that we have everything set, we need to create a Firebase project locally. To do that, we just need to run Firebase init in some directory, and this should create a file called Firebase.json with some default configuration for the project. By default, when we want to deploy, let's start with the cloud functions. So if we want to deploy a function, it will look inside of this directory called functions, where we have our index file. And that's where we export our functions. As an example, I will be using our awesome time tracking tool called Tickwick. And let's go to that project in Firebase. So I have already deployed 2 functions here. Normally you would keep all your functions and rules inside one Firebase project locally, but I don't do that. I have 2 separate projects just to show you what happens when you deploy a function without adding some specific informations on what you want to deploy. So I just ran it, so there's only 1 function. But let's say there were like 10 functions already, and I ran Firebase deploy, which is a command for deploying functions. It will overwrite everything that we had there, including rules, just everything. It will just use the functions and rules from the projects we are in, and there are no rules in this project. There is just 1 function, and it's just being deployed. A few more seconds. This function is called send invitation. I will show you in just a moment what it does. Okay, successful update operation. So we're good to go. When a user wants to invite someone to a certain project with certain privilege, let's choose a project and approver privilege. I will use my private email because the other one is already there and you can't invite the person who's there. Send invitation. That's where the Firebase Cloud function was invoked. And we can check this in the logs. Yeah, function execution started. Not there yet, it takes some time. Yeah, returned undefined because I should return a promise or a value, but I don't do that. But it should still work, like we should get an info that invitation was sent in just a sec. Okay, so invitation sent, and there's my email. Hello, you have been invited to join Week as approver for project Aurity project. So how it works, there are different ways to invoke a function. There's the list in the documentation, so we can do it straight from the app, or like these are the direct methods to deploy the functions. We can do it via HTTP requests or directly from the app, which is kind of the same, but it includes the authentication token and some extra stuff, which we won't be talking about now. And there are different various triggers for the functions, like Cloud's Firestore, the triggers, real-time database triggers, authentication, analytics, Crashlytics, Cloud storage triggers, and some Cloud PubSub triggers. Okay, so let's go back to this function. As I just showed you, we can view logs here, but we can also see detailed usage stats, where we can do several things, like editing the function online. So here's the code. We can edit it however we want, like invitation sent just now. Save, and it's done. Now I can do it again, and we'll check it in just a sec. There's the, it was just saved, so yeah, that probably shouldn't work. Let's do it again. Okay, now it should be updated. So there's a trigger type, it's unknown, but it actually is a Firestore trigger. This is the event type, so we know that the function is triggered by the write operation. You can change the code here, but you cannot actually change the trigger itself online, like you need to deploy a new function for that. And there's also this testing that you can just test if the function works, but we won't be doing this just now. Yeah, I just got a new invitation. We should check the logs for the function now, and it should be updated, the console log. Invitation sent, but we're waiting for the second one. Okay, let's get back to it in a sec. Now I will just show you how to deploy, how to trigger a function with an HTTP request. We'll be using Express for that. So first things first. Now I want to deploy just this one function, so the other doesn't get overridden. Here it is. To do that, I need to run Firebase deploy --only functions, and name of the function is notify. So this will go into functions directory and choose the exported the function that is exported with the name notify. If we had like very many functions in that folder, we can group them into subdirectories and then just go like Firebase deploy only functions dot name of the subdirectory. So let's say function A directory, and then the name of the function. Okay, so as I said, this one is triggered by the HTTP request. Once it's deployed, just now, we can check how to trigger it. So we go to functions, and there it is, notify. And here under the request, we can see the URL that triggers the function. So here, where was that? Send notification, action, project ID, email. These are the things that we pass within the GET request. And we use it to choose what kind of notification the user should get. So is it like if he is an approver for the time in our app, then whenever someone sends a week for acceptation, then the approver should get notified that there are some new pending weeks that he should whether accept or reject. If he accepts or rejects the given week, the user who sent this request should be notified that the week was accepted or rejected. And depending on this, we create the email that we are sending just the same as with the other function. So mail transport, send email, notification sent. Let's see how it looks in our app. So this is the function for notifying approvers, and this is a function for notifying users. We just use the URL that we get from the Firebase project, from the Firebase console, and add some, and create a GET request with it with some parameters. Let's see how it works. So we go to the calendar. A user for this project, but I'm also an approver, so I can just show you how it works without changing the account. So let's say I want to add full day here and send this week for approval. Now I can check my email. Let's see the function. So notify, view logs. Okay, so notification sent. But okay, I got the email. You have new pending weeks to review. Log into TQuick to see them. So I go to pending weeks, refresh, and there it is. Obviously, I shouldn't be able to approve my own weeks, but that's just for the testing purposes. So let's say I approve my week. And back to the console, notification sent, and week accepted. And now it worked just like that, very fast. Your week has been accepted, log into TQuick to see it. So, yeah, I guess that's it about Firebase Cloud Functions. The next thing that we'll cover here will be the rules. We'll just see how to create Firestore rules. You can create also rules for the real-time database from the Firebase or for the storage. But I've only worked with Firestore, to be honest. So the rules look like this. By default, access to the database is restricted, so you cannot access it unless someone allows you with a rule. So first, let's just delete documents equals to asterisks. And allow read operation and write operation. If true, no, if false. So now it will be, the access should be restricted. Let's try to add a day now. No, it's not yet updated. It says it sometimes takes up to 10 minutes, but from my experience, it doesn't take more than 15 seconds. Oh, and it works. So we are unable because permission was denied. So we can just write rules here in the console or in this Firebase project here, and to deploy those rules, we have this Firebase JSON, and it says Firestore here, and this shows the path to the rules file, which is here. So these are the rules that I just deleted from the console. To deploy them, I just need to run, I need to go to this project and run Firebase deploy only Firestore rules. And that's it, the rules should be updated now. And very quickly, to allow or restrict the access, or just to allow actually, because it's restricted by default, you need to match a specific collection and then choose one of the operations. So read or write, or you can go into details. So read can be list, where you can get the whole collection, or get, where you can get just one document from the collection, and write can be divided into create, update, and delete. And you can write your own functions here to make the code shorter, to get access to the data that was passed, that is going to be written to the database, or that's going to be read from the database. You use the resource, then data, and then the specific field from the data that was passed here. And this is just for the reading. And when the request is to write something to the database, you need to do request resource to get to the data that's going to be written. And you can compare those fields with, for example, the user ID from the auth token, so you know if this particular user should have access to this collection or to this document. Yeah, so you should now know the basics on how to create and deploy Firebase Cloud Functions, and how to secure your Firestore database. Guess that's it for today. Thank you.